So it's been revealed that The Walking Dead is going to be canceled after season 11. 24 episodes leading into a spinoff about two characters on the show. After 11 years, some highs, some lows, some heartache, a lot of filler.
Boredom.
Some yes, that's the main thing. Some boredom for 2 whole years.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead is officially announced to be coming to an end, and my initial reaction to it is number one, I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, it's a damn shame because the last two seasons of The Walking Dead were a return to form. I enjoyed the last two seasons of The Walking Dead more than what came before it, definitely. I enjoyed season 9 and season 10 much more than I enjoyed season 7 and season 8. Goes without saying, right? And it's just crazy how some of these things shift so quickly because we had Rick Grimes leave the show. We had Fear the Walking Dead, which is coming into season 6 now, which was initially planned to never cross over with the main series, and then guess what happened? Crossed over with the main series. We have a spinoff called The Walking Dead World Beyond that was set to premiere this year, but for some obvious reasons, it was pushed back to next year. As I mentioned before, we had the main character, Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln, leaving the show to pursue a supposed trilogy of movies that were meant to be released in theaters and at some point maybe coincide with the main storylines on the TV show. And with the show being canceled, it kind of puts a lot of those things in limbo, and it kind of casts a shadow of doubt into some of the things that they were planning on doing in the future. Part of it could be that The Walking Dead isn't as hot of a property as it was when it was at its peak. I did some research on this. At one point in time,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, The Walking Dead was the highest rated TV show on cable television. Period. Like
Yeah.
13 million viewers on cable television with commercials and not counting DVR and everything. But this was a ratings juggernaut for AMC, right?
It outdid NFL games.
Right. And not only that, but this is during the time, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that there was a little bit of overlap between The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad and another popular TV series that was on AMC called Mad Men, which is one of my favorite TV shows ever. So there was definitely overlap between The Walking Dead and some of the other tentpole TV series that network AMC had, right? I feel as though they waited too long. The
For
bloom
sure.
was a little bit off of the rose when they decided that we want to go all in on the spinoff territory. We want to go all in on expanding this property beyond just the comic book series and just the one TV series that's bringing a lot of notoriety to our network. What's your opinion on that?
I definitely agree with you, man. I think this was pretty much maybe honestly about 3 or 4 years too late in
Mm-hmm.
that regard. It's incredible what they did to make that show what it was. I mean, it was the biggest show on cable television, and it outdid NFL game ratings, and it really was a big monumental pulp culture event that
Right.
everyone would talk about at work, just like Game of Thrones. Did you see what Rick did last night on Walking Dead? Oh my God! Like, it was a conversation that everyone had during this at its peak, and over the years, it just kept going on the decline of quality. It kept going on the decline of just almost like senseless milking. And like you said, it's a shame because these last two seasons was legitimately a return to form.
Yes,
rivaling even some of the earlier seasons, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's how good it got, but you had to just tread through all the bullshit, boring, lackluster episodes to get to it, to the point where nobody cared. And I remember, like, hey, Walking Dead is bad, Walking Dead is bad. There was a
Hmm.
few of us hardcores out there trying to share it to others that, hey, Walking Dead's good again. Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody
Nope,
cared. It
not at
was,
all.
the ship had sailed, and we were left at port screaming like everything's good, and no one cared anymore. Um,
Man,
Go ahead.
keep cooking, bro, keep cooking.
Yeah, man. For them to think of, like you said, with this being canceled, the movie projects and the spin-offs are now basically in limbo. I don't think it's going to get done for sure, especially with the current pandemic going on in the world and the state of the movie industry. I think there's a slim chance that that will ever happen. And if they are going to make those Rick Grimes centered films, it's going to go on streaming or on AMC for probably one last, marketed as one last hurrah for Walking Dead.
Yep, I agree
Oh,
with that.
yeah.
Or it could be a situation where instead of the planned series of movies, because this last season is meant to be 24 episodes, which is a head scratcher as well, because to my knowledge, I can't think of any TV series that's ever aired 24 weeks of television back to back to back. The only TV show that does that is Monday Night Raw. Yeah, that's the only TV show that does that. Vince McMahon is the only guy that is gonna go out of his way to give you a constant stream of new content every week.
Right.
24 episodes is literally two regular seasons of your average TV show that's on any platform now in 2020.
Mm.
So, you know, 24 episodes. So what are you going to do? You're going to do 12 episodes for season 11A and then take a hiatus and then the last 12 episodes. Like that's a little bit redundant in my opinion, when you could just split that into two seasons, but the production cycle could be a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's neither here or there. At this point in time, I think we'd be lucky to get one Rick Grimes movie, period. If there's one live action movie attached to The Walking Dead, at this point, that would be a victory for AMC, for Skybound Entertainment, and Scott Gimple. That would be a victory if they are actually able to oversee an entire production cycle for one movie, let alone three of them. And it's not really fair. And as a fan of The Walking Dead, it's a little bit discouraging because I'm going to be honest with you. I enjoyed Fear the Walking Dead. I'm one of the few people that went out of their way to actually watch that show. And initially, it was something different. Fear the Walking Dead kind of provided me with the entertainment that I wanted from the main show when the main show kind of hit that low point in season 7 and season 8. And
Mm.
then it's almost like once the new showrunner for the main show got on that one, Fear the Walking Dead took a dive.
Funny how that works out.
Right. Then that took a dive. So it's unfortunate because I will never view The Walking Dead as being one of the greatest TV shows ever. I will never do that. Now, it did have an impact, like we were saying. It had an impact. It definitely changed some things in terms of what you actually are seeing as far as graphic violence and the practical effects that they're doing on a network TV show. Like that can never be understated. But due to the fact that it's been around for 11 years, yes, really 10 years, but 11 seasons, that has to be applauded, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, it rejuvenated the whole zombie genre. How many Walking Dead spin-offs has there been since then? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
countless, dude. When it comes to movies, when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
television, everyone was trying to get a piece of the zombie pie, even video games. It
Yep.
really did brought back zombies to the fold of pop culture and mainstream audiences in a way that felt fresh, in a
Mm-hmm.
way that felt different and felt real. It felt literally like it could happen tomorrow in
Right.
terms of the practical effects were so good. The storyline seemed realistic among the chaos and confusion. Nothing seemed out of reach in terms of reality. Maybe until later on, certain seasons where there were some incidences with certain zombies where like that's bullshit. That's just power of the pen how that character escaped. But regardless, regardless of that, it really was this big monumental shift in zombies and kind of the horror genre in itself and
Mm-hmm.
television. This was just you hate to see TV series where they kind of hit rock bottom and they don't know when to
Mm-hmm.
stop
Yep.
and then they get canceled. Instead of having a proper exiting strategy, instead
Keep
of
going.
someone saying, hey, look, we need to just cut the ties right now. We need to just pull the band-aid off. Let's end it here. Let's go 2 more seasons and cut it and let's go out with a bang. Let's try to go out with a
Mm-hmm.
bang. Instead of just kind of milk it, milk it, milk it, milk it, and then oh shit, well I guess this is really it. And that's no way to that's really it's really a sucky way to go in terms of
Right.
television to milk something out so much that you had basically no plan, no exit plan, no strategy of properly ending your series, and now you
Yep.
have to make up with one. Now you have to make up one with what you've had prior. So,
Yep.
in that regard, it is a shame because it has gotten good, but it just took too long, and I'm not sure if they even have something properly in place for the series to naturally end on.
And the thing is, to my knowledge, one of the things that I like, one of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed about the Walking Dead TV show is that it was not a one for one, step by step. How do I put this? It was not a one for one interpretation of everything that happened in the comic book series. There was,
Yes, yes.
if you read the comic books and watched the TV show, everything that happened was not exactly the same. There were storyline elements that were similar. There might have been some things that happened the same way. There might have been characters that appeared, didn't appear, died at a different time and died later on. Characters who ended up hooking up in the comic books that didn't hook up on a TV show. So that was definitely something that I enjoyed. It does say something when the comic book series ends before the TV show.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
man.
yeah. I mean, The Walking Dead ended last year. For all intents and purposes, whatever was going on page, they wrapped all of that up in 2019.
Very abruptly. Yeah.
Very, yes, almost awkwardly abruptly, but it was a creative decision that, the writer of that series, he made the decision and it was time to wrap it up. With the TV series and with the spinoffs, my question for you is this. When the show ends and we get this spinoff with Daryl Dixon and Carol, and then we get the other companion TV series that was only announced for 2 seasons, which is good. I'm glad that they did that. They came right out and said the World Beyond TV series is only going to run for 2 seasons. Thank you
Okay.
very much. And Fear the Walking Dead, it's been on for 6 seasons already. They got to be circling the wagons sooner than later. And sooner than later, they got to be figuring out a way to bring that to an end. But do you even feel any excitement for the future of that property? Because it's been around for as long as it's been around.
Honestly, no, man. I don't feel any excitement at all. I mean, it's done. Your source material is done. Your comic book
Mm-hmm.
is done. The TV show is done. Honestly, this all this other extra shit is kind of like just an extension of a farewell tour, in my
Mm.
opinion. You get in your feelings like, oh man, Walking Dead's gone, but I still got Daryl and I still got Carol in this one, in this show, and honestly, that what more can you draw from an already gone audience? The only audience is left is us, the fans. So it's literally just going to be us watching these seasons and these extra content and reminiscing about the good times of The Walking Dead. This is literally just this is the farewell tour, and we're saying goodbye for the final time, and we're basically gonna put up the lighter, wave it, pour out a little liquor, and just say rest in peace, Walking Dead. Robert Kirkman really did a phenomenal job writing the comic, and for it to explode into a television series is it really shows just how honestly how powerful the comic book medium is, that you can have a show derived from the source material of a comic book like that. Now you have Preacher and other shows that are coming from the comic book medium. So
It should have never gotten to this point. That's the feeling that I have, right? I'm gonna watch the final season of The Walking Dead. I'm going to watch it because it's a show that I like. But I still feel like it should have never gotten to this point. Everything went downhill with the Savior's storyline in those 2 seasons. It all went downhill from that point on because they ended a season on a cliffhanger. They debuted the next season based around resolving the cliffhanger. And when you give us that resolution, you're starting out on such a high to where you can't get any higher than that. Sidebar. I like back to what you were saying before, and that there isn't any excitement, and you would feel as though watching these spin-offs that are supposed to be a continuation of the main storyline are just there to remind you of how good it was before. My opinion, I think that's the entire reason why HBO kind of pulled the plug on whatever prequel or whatever companion series they were trying to do with Game of Thrones. They were smart enough to know that some mistakes were made and that the fan base felt a certain type of way about how it ended, to where it wasn't worth trying to continue going on if all you were going to get was a farewell tour. The difference between a network like HBO and a network like AMC, obviously HBO is a premium network. AMC relies on their original content for that channel to be able to survive on cable television. I never wanted it, like, it just doesn't make sense when you think about it. When we piece all of this together, if we were to make a list of all of the things that have happened either behind the scenes or on screen on The Walking Dead.